Well, hello, Internet. So I don't know if you can see, but I just got back from a doctor's appointment, and I can't think of it any other way than of temporarily celebrating, momentary escape from the unnecessarily silly nature of the American medical system than drinking a whole bunch of Armagnac. So that's what we're going to do. No system today. This is just stuff I've grabbed because I thought it looked interesting and worth your valuable time and money. So let's get these things poured. I've got an older vintage offering that's unfortunately offered at 40% alcohol by volume, but it wasn't very expensive, so I'm not too, terribly upset about that. And then two others which are offered at higher strengths. Look at the color on this. And we shall see what's what. So because this first one, the Trepout, is offered at only 40%, it makes no sense for me to do my normal thing where I try it neat and then go back and try it again with water. I'm just going to go through it neat once, give you a score, and move on to the others. The others, though, I will actually add a little bit of water and switch between them. So again, what do we got here? We got the Marcel Trepout 1991 vintage Armagnac. Note this is not marked as a Bas-Armagnac, a Armagnac, Teneraz, anything like that. This is just, declassified Armagnac. So, and I think the reason for that is this is negotiant. They want to keep themselves flexible. They want to be able to source wherever they need to source. So they're not they're not going to change their label too much based on wherever they're getting whatever they're getting. So I grabbed this because it is actually quite cheap for something of this age. And I do believe this is 30 years old, even though it's not stated on the label annoyingly, because that seems to be what these folks do. They do 30-year-old bottlings for anniversaries and birthdays and stuff like that. And apparently this is Trepout is known as the Armagnac that is given to heads of state, visiting heads of state and stuff, which sounds good. That sounds great. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, so this is a 30-year-old Armagnac, but I'm not sure if you can see. That is, it's a dark color, right? But for, something matured in French oak, in Quercus robur, this is a relatively light color. And it is relatively light on the wood, on the nose as well. It's actually quite fresh. The lack of proof, this is 40% ABV, is getting in the way a little bit. It feels a little bit fudged. Some of the characters are not sort of as vivid as I would like them to be. But I'm getting some exotic woods, maybe some balsa wood, maybe something from found from Brazil, that kind of smell. Lots of flowers, kind of, you walking into a nice flower shop. Some sandstone in there, maybe. Lychee fruit as well. So we're kind of getting a sort of pear meets grape meets floral elements thing. And you're getting a little bit of dried fruit, some golden raisins, a little bit of prune, not very much. And this kind of green herbaceous orange thing, kind of a bergamot note going on. Really just, there's a little bit of tea in there. I was thinking of calling it Earl Grey, but no, it's just kind of straight, bergamot. Potpourri. There is a tea note in here, but it's more like pu'er tea. And not the really expensive premium stuff. This is just, your basic pu'er that you bought at the grocery store. There's a little bit of there's a very light kind of smoky, winey thing. Maybe like a Northern Rhone Viognier. Not a Cointreau or anything like that. Just, good solid Viognier. It's lovely. It's very light, aromatic. Where's its but you know ages? Where's its age well? Um, this seems like it's just going to be something nice to drink and enjoy without thinking about it too much. And on the palate, holds up nicely, presents nicely, presents with a little bit of intensity despite the low strength. So again, we're getting exotic woods, sort of balsa, that kind of thing, funky wood. Lots of potpourri, lots of flowers. You have to like a little bit of drier sheet in your Armagnac to appreciate this. And then, but much more spice driven on the palate than it is on the nose. Yeah, the tannins are there. You know, not as intense as some of these others, but they're there. There's some cinnamon stick, overstewed tea, kind of like this rusty note, this kind of a rusty nail thing. And then, you know, you're getting, you know, flowers, lychee fruit. That Viognier thing, the bergamot thing again. I'm going to take, so it is, if you actually start to pay attention to this while you drink it, which I imagine is not what you should be doing. I imagine this is like, you know, just a celebration bottle. I mean, it comes in a nice box. Look at this. Look at how pretty that is. I imagine you're supposed to slap the box on the table, open this up, and pop it open, and enjoy it with, you know, some cigars or something. But if you're paying attention, you will notice the mouthfeel is a little bit thin. Actually, quite a bit thin. What's kind of compensating for that is the finish is nice, long, and pretty dry. Yeah, we're getting wood tannins, the overstewed tea stuff, and that, you know, chewing on a little bit of chewing on a cinnamon stick thing. Not spectacular, not blowing my mind, but for the age and for the price, pretty solid. I'm going to give this an 84 out of 100. Well done, Marcel Trepout. You know, if they were to give this a little bit more strength, I think it would absolutely help it. But good, solid, rather distillate forward Armagnac, especially considering how old this is. All right, we're going to set that aside because we don't need to add water to it, and move on to the others. We have got next up. This is Domaine Basque. This is a Bas-Armagnac. It is a 2001 vintage. I don't know when this was bottled, but I would guess it's around 18 years old. This is made by Cecile and Pierre Lamothe, so well done to them. And again, I think I mentioned this already, but look at the color on this. That is basically root beer. This is a very, very dark color. So I imagine this spent all those 18 years in new French oak, new Quercus robur, which means you know we're gonna get into tannin town here. All right, let's go. On the nose, bottled at 46%, which is very much appreciated. Oak. I mean, this is French Oak City. And very spice driven, I mean, it's Christmas in Oaksville, you know? Lots of cherry, different kinds of cherry, some kirsch, dessert cherry, wild cherry, the cherry wood smoke, cherry all kinds, as Serge Valentine likes to say. And then cinnamon, clove, lots of coffee. Like we're not like brewed coffee. This is coffee grinds, like freshly ground Brazilian, something like that. Nutshells, tree bark. Maybe you toasted up your nutshells and tree bark a little bit. White pepper, birch beer, and Okay, actually, now that I've been swirling this for a little while, there's a little bit of a floral note coming out. There's this, but it's metallic at the same time. So we're talking a flower made out of like steel or metal. I mean, it smells like monolithic coffee cake is what this smells like. There's also a little bit of furniture polish, some like old book coming through, that sort of old leather kind of smell. Um, Austere, oaky. Um, this is very much at the other end of the spectrum from some of the distillate driven uh, spirits that I like to you know sing the praises of. This is oak driven. This is like 90% of this is oak, and that's okay. On the palate, um, not subtle is this. This is very, very, very oaky. Actually, you know what? Let me contextualize this. If you are new to the bourbon scene, particularly if you're a bourbon drinker who's just come onto the bourbon scene in the last 5 years or so, and first of all, hello, welcome to the channel. Um, and if you're like a newcomer bourbon drinker and you are like FOMOing about the fact that you never got to try so many of the older bourbons that were available maybe 10, 15 years ago, Elijah Craig 18 comes to mind, first of all. Those things, this is actually kind of a throwback to that. This is like so oaky, it just tears your mouth out with, while at the same time drying it out and just filling it with herbaceous, cooling herbaceous oaky action. Yeah, this is a substitute for Elijah Craig 18. Except I think I like this better. All right, let me actually give you some tasting notes though. Oh God, so drying, so tannic, so much raw wood, but I'm kind of enjoying it. Awesome tea. But like awesome tea that's been like stacked on top of itself. It's been compounded somehow. It's like awesome tea to the nth power. Coffee cake again. Lots of cinnamon stick, clove, black pepper. Um, oh, and the cherries are still there. Lots of cherries. Some prune too. Some prune juice. That old book's old leather character. I feel like I'm chewing on chunks of old furniture too. Um, a little bit of a coffee touch, but more like coffee remains, like you accidentally kept your coffee on the hot pot thing for too long, and then there's just like coffee grunge at the bottom, and you're like, I want to try some. That's kind of what I'm getting here in terms of the coffee, but nice. But kind of just like as on the nose, there is this fun floral touch to this that's also kind of wrapped up with a kind of metallic touch, so like steel flowers. And I think that's the distillate kind of punching its way through, which I never got with those old over oaked bourbons. Those were always just oak, oak, oak all day long. Here it feels like the distillate is trying to balance this out a little bit, and it's, having a really hard time because there's so much oak, but it's kind of peeking through. It's kind of insisting that this be an ensemble piece, and I appreciate that. All right, so I'm gonna add a squirt of water to this. Usually that brings out more oak when I add water, but we'll see what happens this time. And move on to Armagnac number 3. So this is Tariquet maybe? I'm not sure. I read French pretty well. Don't ask me to pronounce it. This is the 15-year-old Bas-Armagnac, which is made entirely out of Folle Blanche, which is the old school Armagnac and Cognac grape. And this is bottled at a cask strength of 47.2%. It's also natural color. No mention about filtration, but I figure there. No mention of filtration, and I will leave it at that. Now, if you recall, and I'll link it down below, I tried the 8-year-old version of this and really, really loved it. So now, I've stepped up. I bought the 15, and we're going to see how that compares. I'm going to not mix this up with the Le Basque. This also has a super, super dark color, but you'll notice it isn't actually as dark as the Le Basque is. I think these are probably around, not that far apart in age, so I'm guessing there's just less active oak going on here. On the nose, this is right away, it still feels oaky, but the oak isn't very loud. I don't know how I can explain. Sometimes when you nose something that's very oaky, you aren't getting, it's more the absence of anything going on that tells you the oak is there, rather than, does that make sense? It's like being in the eye of the storm. You can just tell how much oak is there, but you're not actually sensing it. What I am getting is lots of floral notes. This is actually more floral than even the first one. White flowers, dandelions too. So just kind of field flowers. But now I get them in a second, and I'm starting to get the cardamom, the cinnamon. More freshly ground coffee, but it's more floral coffee this time. This is like Ethiopian. This is Yirgacheffe or something. It is woody. The wood is coming through, but it's not out of control. It's not even the Basque is completely out of control, but the Basque is definitely leaning much harder on the wood than this Tariquet is. Dried cherry, prunes, some cranberry in there too. Not much, but it's there. Like dried cranberry. A little more minerality, some wet rocks. Herbal cigarettes, if you've ever played around with those in college, like some people. Orange peel. Some fruit cake, a little Robitussin. Classic Robitussin. It's lovely. It gestures back to that 8, which I found so fruity and aromatic and floral and fruity and just delightful. But there's just so much more oak on this. Same kind of territory though, style-wise. On the palate, it just feels like there's more oak and more coffee. That's interesting. So first of all, long, dry, tannic finish, which is what you expect on an Armagnac that's starting to push up into the ages. What's interesting about this and what kind of gave me pause is this actually feels thinner than I remember the 8-year-old being, as if like the oiliness from being a little bit fresher off the stills, a little bit less time in oak, had kind of been keeping a creaminess on the 8 that isn't really present here on the 15 as much. Oh, but it's delicious though. And I feel like this might actually hit more palates than the 8-year-old. And it's definitely more balanced than the Le Basque. As much as fun as the Le Basque is, this is the one I would probably reach for more often. Lots woodier than the 8. And that's kind of what's defining this. Cherry, some red currant, cranberry, dried cranberry again, prunes, the obligatory cardamom, cinnamon, little clove, some tobacco going on, menthol kind of mixed in with tobacco, and just the long drying tannins. It's not as tannic as the Le Basque, but So the effect is with the sort of floral nature of this, the slightly fruitier, slightly more floral nature of this, is a long dry finish where there's flowers playing around in it more, and I'm kind of into that. We are actually getting Earl Grey tea, full blown Earl Grey tea here, overstewed Earl Grey, black pepper. Yeah, quite fruity, but it's kind of being held back as the oak kind of comes forward to kind of try to take the center stage. The Ethiopian coffee thing again, a little raspberry too. Very good. Of these three, and even including the eight, I feel like this is the one that's going to hit most palates, including bourbon drinkers. Although bourbon drinkers will want to try the Basque just to know what those old bourbons were kind of like to deal with. Okay, good. These are all actually pretty good. I like them a lot. Armagnac is just a really strong category right now. It's starting to get attention, but the prices haven't caught up with that yet, except for a couple of brands. Veterans will know which ones I'm talking about. All right, back to the Little Basque. 2001, now with a squirt of water. Yeah, I'm gonna add just a little bit more water to the Tariquet because it is a little bit stronger. 47.2 versus 46. All right, on the nose of the Le Basque, now with a little bit more water. Okay, more oak. The oak is there's not, well, let me pull it. The oak that was there previously, it doesn't feel like there's more, but it's more expressive. It's louder. So we're getting more oak, more cherry, more leather. Kind of a cherry root beer note, if that exists. Has it made cherry root? Someone has to have made cherry root beer, right? But the metal flowers thing is also coming out more. It's dusty. I'm getting more rancio notes coming out. So more old furniture polish, those kinds of things coming out. But weirdly enough, the fruitiness and the metal flowers have actually come out enough with water that it feels more balanced than it did neat, which is not necessarily what I was expecting. Usually oak bongs kind of get more unbalanced as you add water. This one's actually cleaned itself up a little bit, which I like. That's a good sign for me. On the palate. Oh. Very dry. Very, very, very dry. But it works. It really does kind of work. It's brutal, but if you can kind of like accept that, there's a lot going on here. This is actually really good. More red fruit, more wood coming out, but also more wood sugar. This actually comes across sweeter now. Oh God, but the tannins. Black tea, wood, more wood, still more wood. This is just, you have to be in a mood to drink something like this, right? Like this is not something I'm going to drink, reach for all the time. But I mean, if you're looking for just a wood bomb, a tannin bomb that still has enough in there, enough other character in there to kind of balance it off, this is great. I'm going to give this. I mean, it's not great. It's really good. It's really solid. I'm going to give this an 86 out of 100. And Elijah Craig 18 fans, you get 100 out of 100. This is highly recommended for you guys. God, it is so tannic. God, I am amazed it works, but somehow it does. I like it. 86. And back to the Tariquet. Domaine Tariquet. Tariquet, I guess. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Now with a little bit of water. actually kind of lightens up. The wood pulls back rather than coming out. It's more aromatic. There's some incense coming through, some lime of all things. Stoved, like stoved red Virginia tobacco. Citrus honey, like orange honey, lime honey coming through. It's nice. It's not like it's gained more complexity from before the water, but it's just kind of shifted to a different mood, if that makes sense. It hasn't. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that description. It's not better. It's just different. On the palate, yeah, this is something that's going to hit a lot of people's palates. Very well balanced. So water brings out a little bit of the fruit, a little bit more, a little bit of that fruit I was missing from the 8. It brings out that sort of funny incense thing I was talking about. Really nice, really well made, well well calculated. I mean, the only problem with this is so score this. I'm gonna give this an 87 out of 100. I think this is really good, really really good. The only problem with this is I don't think I actually like this more than the old Tariquet 8-year-old. I don't think it's any worse. I think objectively, if I put aside personal judgments or personal taste, I think objectively these are right on the same level. These are the 8 and the 15 are in a dead heat basically. And on top of that, I think personally I kind of prefer the 8. I want the fruitiness. I want the creaminess. This is real good, and the woody is adding a new dimension, and I think many people will like this more. But if I had my choice between the two, I would actually go with the 8. And that's kind of what I got to say. 87 out of 100. Really good. Oh, and it also comes in a nice box. Look at this. So, and after you're done, you can keep pasta in it or whatever. And that's kind of all I got. I'm going to wrap this up. What do we got? 84, 86, 87. All good. All, doing vastly different things. This is a great bottle if you just want to slap something 30 years old with the right vintage, especially with the right vintage on your table, and kind of enjoy maybe with a nice smoke for the night. Maybe something, maybe a nice English style blend, in your pipe. This is when you just want tannins up in your grill piece. This is, a very, and I talked about with the 8 too. If this was on the U.S. market, or I think it is actually, but if this was really available on the U.S. market at a good price and people could just walk over to their local liquor store and grab this, I think that would be enough to ignite, an Armagnac, a full-blown Armagnac craze in the U.S. I really do. These Tariquets are really terrific and sort of economically dangerous, because nothing is going to attract attention to the style better than something like this. And that's kind of all I got. Thanks for watching. I hope this was, informative and educational, or whatever the hell reason you watch these for. Thanks for watching, and cheers.